So, hello Cheers. Today I am in Los Angeles and I am on Skype with an awesome guest. He is Hispanic, he's one of the top best motivational speaker in the world, and he is an international speaker and is the author of best-selling book. For example, Don't Eat the Marshmallow Yet, The Secret to Sweet Success in Work, in Life, and we will discover what it is. So, hello Joachim.
Hello, David. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Yes, how are you?
Good. Thank you for inviting me to share some ideas with your public, with your
Yeah,
audience.
thank you too. Thank you too. I'm very glad to discover your answers.
Oh, okay.
You have written a book called Don't Eat the Marshmallow Yet, The Secret to Sweet Success in Work, in Life. And I know a study with children about marshmallow. Can you tell me what is your book? Can you explain more? What is it?
Yes, the principle that I discuss in Don't Eat the Marshmallow Yet is the most important principle for success. And it all started with an experiment that was done with children that were 4 years old. They were placed 643 kids, boys and girls. They were placed in a room all by themselves with a marshmallow, and they were told, Johnny or Mary, I'm going to leave you here with a marshmallow. If when I come back, the marshmallow is here, you get two. If
Yeah.
you eat it, you get nothing else. So imagine, David, to tell a 4-year-old kid to wait 15 minutes for something they like, it's like you and I wait 3 hours for a cup of coffee. It's a long time.
Yeah.
So what happened? 2 out of 3 children, 2 out of 3 ate the marshmallow. 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. They could not hold. They ate the marshmallow. But 1 out of 3 already understood the most important principle for success, which is self-discipline,
Wow.
the ability to delay gratification. 15 years later, follow-up study, what did they find? Every child that had not eaten the marshmallow was successful. In college, good grades, good plans for the future. The entrance exam for the university, 213 points higher than the kids that ate the marshmallow. The kids that ate the marshmallow, many of them did not make it to college. They
Yeah.
were working low-paying jobs, delivering pizzas, pumping gas, mechanics, waiters in restaurants, and they were highly in debt. They owed a lot of money, and some of them had alcoholism and drug addiction. Some of them made it to college and dropped out. Others made it to college and had bad grades. Just a few, something changed them. Something made them be able to have self-discipline. A father, a mother, a coach, a teacher. So those children were changed. So the basic principle is self-discipline,
Yeah.
emotional intelligence. And even though genetically, some of us genetically were born with a success gene, in reality, emotional intelligence can be taught to anyone. So anyone can be successful.
Yeah. And what is, because I know, but it is a very interesting topic, what is, according to you, emotional intelligence and how we can develop it?
Okay, in particular, let me tell you a finding that was very interesting with the 4-year-old kids, and that I reproduced in an experiment myself.
Wow.
Some people want to go to TED.com, you
Yeah.
search for my name, and you see my talk. Have you seen my talk on TED?
No, it's amazing because I love TED. Yeah.
Well, when you go to TED.com, just search for my name, and you will see my talk in TED, and you will see the experiment I did in Colombia with Hispanic kids.
Yeah.
Found
Yeah.
something we found very interesting is this. These children that were able to withstand the temptation, not eat it, we could think that they have willpower. And yet, studying these children, we found that some of them had willpower, but some of them did not. And they did not eat the marshmallow. Why? Because they understood themselves, which is emotional intelligence, knowing myself. And they knew at 4 that if they looked at the marshmallow, they would eat it. So what did they do? They went under the table. They look at the ceiling. They played with their skirt.
Yeah.
They played with their fingers. They did not look at the marshmallow knowing that if they look at it, they're going to eat it. So that's one way that you can make this principle work for you. Let's say that money that goes to your hands, you spend. Okay, so what do? You don't have the willpower. Well, use a technique so that your money doesn't get to you. In other words, tell your company to deduct 10% of whatever you earn and keep it in a money-making instrument, stock market or whatever you want, but leave it with your company where it doesn't reach your pocket.
Yeah.
If you don't have that in your company, then have your mother, your father, someone you trust. When you get paid, you take 10%, you give it to your dad. Dad, keep that for me. I don't want to see it. And you adjust your life to live with 90%. Okay, that's one technique.
Yeah. It's amazing. Yes. So it is the first one. Do you have another technique, another advice or tip to build the emotional intelligence? And I am seeing you in TED. It's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. As you can see, if you look at the talk, it's had over 1 million hits. 1 million hits. So people love the concept. And it is very important for people to understand that concept, David, because not only, if you don't understand the concept, not only will it destroy your family and yourself, it could even do it to your country. Countries that spend more money than they earn are eating more marshmallows than they produce.
Wow,
And that
yeah.
is unsustainable. So a country that spends more than it makes or produces will be bankrupt in a long time frame, or short sometimes. Well, like Greece almost went bankrupt because they spent more than they had. So this applies to people, applies to
Company,
companies, and
yeah.
applies to countries
And world, maybe.
and the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, it applies to the world because if we in the world, if we deplete our natural resources, where we consume more and we contaminate the environment more than we can restore it, the world will cease to exist one day, millions of years from now, luckily.
Yes, it's very inspiring, this concept. So we have to delay the satisfaction to do better choices.
Exactly. I would suspect that a lot of people that are watching you, people that you have on your list,
Yeah.
they're in business, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So people in business, let me tell you an application of the marshmallow. So for your people that are in the business world, let's say that you have a product to sell.
Yeah.
You go to a client, and the client might say to you, David, I like product A. I want to buy it. And you say, oh, yes, I have product A, and it's a very good one. How many do you want? When do you want it delivered? If you say that, you ate the marshmallow. That's bad. When a client says to you, David, I want product A, you say, product A is very good. It's a good product. But let me ask you a question. What problem do you have here that you think product A will solve? What's happening in your company that you believe this is a solution? When the client starts talking and you start asking him questions or asking her questions, what would happen? You will find other needs that the client has not even found himself.
Yeah.
And by finding other needs, you might end up with a sale of A, B, and C, big order instead of a small order. Let me give you a concrete example. Big American company, Verizon, calls me to do a time management session for 20 executives. One day in a hotel, they would pay me X amount of money. Let's say at that time it was $10,000, and that would be it. When he said that, if I would have said, yes, I do a very good time management seminar. What day, what hotel? Okay, I'll send you the contract. I'll see you in the Hilton. If I would have done that, it would have been $10,000. I did not do that. What I did was, Mr. Client, I have a very good time management seminar. But let me ask you a question. What is happening in your company that a time management session you think will solve. What
Hmm.
problem are you having? What problems are you having here that you think time management will correct? The client started talking. I continued asking questions. We went to a second meeting, third meeting. David, instead of 10,000, I left with $1.2 million.
Yeah, it's great.
So by me knowing the marshmallow principle, I was able to convert a $10,000 sale into over $1 million sale by knowing this one principle.
Yeah, it's great. I would like to know, for example, when you have an opportunity, and maybe it's not a pretty good opportunity. But for example, you have an opportunity, but you feel inside yourself that it's not really what you want, but you are taking it. Maybe you are eating the marshmallow, right?
Yeah, yes. If you have an opportunity you don't like that much, and you feel that if you wait now, something better will come along because this one just doesn't feel right, usually you are right. Your intuition is telling you it is not the right fit. It is not what you should do. Don't do it too quickly. Don't fall into it.
S-
Wait until something better comes. That's the marshmallow principle.
Yes, and for example, someone who would like to have a job and he is doing an interview, a job interview, and the job don't fit really to him, and he is afraid to have no job, so he takes it. How can develop the ability to, because if he does that, it is because he fears, he have some fears, but how to overcome the fear and be patient and believe that after he will have two marshmallows, he will have a better job, he will have a better opportunity. How to believe in that?
This is a very, very difficult question, and I'll tell you why. Sometimes you have to understand your circumstances. If you are telling me that someone has now a job offer that is not what the person is looking for, is not a real fit, it's better to wait and believe in yourself and then understand what is it that you did not like about that opportunity, and then in your mind envision the opportunity that you really would like, and then make plans to go and look for that opportunity in places that can offer you that opportunity. However, on the other hand, if you are married with a wife and two children, and they're hungry, and you have no job, and there's no possibility that you might get one immediately, you need to first take care of your family. You have to accept anything that will put food on the table.
Hmm.
But you do it understanding that you're doing this just to survive for a little while you strengthen your situation financially, and then you go and look for whatever you like to do.
Yes,
Okay, so it all depends. That's why I tell people, you know what? Don't eat the marshmallow yet. In other words, when bad times come, you better have a fund that is set aside that can carry you through for 6 months to a year, where you do not have to worry to be able to feed your family, and then you can concentrate all the time in looking for what you need.
yes. So it depends of the situation, and
Yes.
if you are in a very bad situation, it's very difficult. So you don't have the same choice, yeah, because you have to feed your family.
You
But
have to feed your family.
if you have the choice, if you don't have to eat now, it's okay for you. You have to look at inside yourself to, do I want that really, or I am able to wait for maybe 2 or 3 months or maybe 1 year to find the exact contract, the exact job, the exact opportunity, the exact woman, the exact husband. That's right?
That's exactly right. But very clear is that even though you're not accepting this job because it's not a good fit, you have another job. You have another job full time. And that other job is getting up in the morning at 8 until 5, working at finding the job you want.
Mm.
So it's already a job you have, except you're not getting paid because you're working to find an opportunity. But that's work. It requires making phone calls. It requires doing research. It requires emailing, posting in social media. It requires many activities that you need to do on a daily basis to find that opportunity that you are waiting for. You cannot sit home just for it to come to you.
Yeah, I think so. And I would like to ask you something about you because you are Hispanic, you have an accent, and I believe that a lot of people with accent, with other origin, yes, maybe have the belief that, oh, I can't do that because I'm not an American, I don't have an English perfect accent, and I have the belief that I can't. So, how did you overcome this kind of belief, if you had some?
Well, let me tell you, it's exactly what happened to me. I was a successful speaker in Spanish country, in Puerto Rico. Suddenly, my partner says, Joaquin, you have to attack the American market. I said, Bill, I have an accent. They won't listen to me. They will not understand me. I'm going to fail. I had
Yeah,
that thought in my mind. Can you believe that? I
yeah.
had this thought in my mind. But one day, we were watching TV and we saw Henry Kissinger. And Henry Kissinger had an accent. And my partner says to me, you see that guy? He has a high position in the American government and he has an accent. Why can't you do the same thing? So that got me thinking. However, I still, felt that I was not able to do so. I still wasn't sure of myself. So one day I go to a seminar by somebody else, and I like what they did. And at the end, I congratulate. They passed out some cards for us to put our names and why were we there. So it was a real estate seminar. So I tell the speaker, sir, I love your speech. If you ever need to motivate your people, I am the best motivational speaker in the United States. And I turned my card in, forgot about it. 2 weeks later, I get a call by a secretary that says, Dr. Posada, Mr. Bengis wants to have lunch with the best motivational speaker in the US. I almost say, who's that? I had forgotten. But anyway, finally I accepted the lunch. And when I went there, the guy says to me, I'm so glad you made it. I can see you are a good speaker. Tell me, what can I do better? So I started to tell him I said, no, you did great. And no. Tell me what I need to get better. So I said, okay. For example, when you showed your slide, you showed 5 points you wanted to discuss. Don't show 5, show only 1. And then you talk about that, and then you show the second one. And then you talk about that, and you show the third one. People, you need to maintain their attention. So say, oh, that's a good idea. Okay. I said, okay. Now, when you talk to a big group like you were doing, you have to go and look all over the theater. You have to go that way, middle, the other way. You cannot stay on the left side looking at the left side. He said, oh my God, that's very good. So he jotted it down. And then the last thing I said, and the last thing I want to tell you is this. Are you afraid of public speaking? And the guy says, there's silence. He looks at me. He goes like this. How did you know? I'm terrified. I'm terrified. How did you know? He said, well, because I saw you when you started, you clutched the lectern. You held on to it. I could see your white knuckles and your voice was nervous. I could see that you were having difficulty at the beginning. He said, yes. How can I solve that? I said, okay, I'm going to give you a technique. When you start speaking, you look at one pair of eyes in the center, one person only, that person's eyes. And you imagine you're talking to her, only her. And then for 5 seconds, you talk to her, and then you look left-hand side, another set of eyes. And then you look at him. When you're looking at him, people around him think you're looking at all of them because they cannot tell you're looking at him. So when you do that, you go to the other side, 5 seconds, pair of eyes, one person only. You're going to speak to one person only on each side of the room. And that way you'll feel better. You breathe deep before your speech. Don't clutch the lectern. Stand in the middle. I gave him a few tips. The guy went, oh my God, thank you. Thank you. I'm so grateful. And then he says to me, I have a big speech. I already have one speaker that I almost got him booked, but I haven't booked him yet. I would like to give you a chance, but I cannot risk it. I have to see you in action before I give you that speech. So if you're willing to come here, talk to 10 of my people, and they like you, I'll give you 750 people in a hotel. Oh my God. I said to the guy, okay, how much will I get for that speech? And the guy says, $1,500. We're talking 30 years ago, okay? 1,500 for a 2-hour speech. David, the reason I had gone to see this guy in his seminar was because he was a real estate guy, and I had been hired by a real estate company to do 8 Saturdays, 8 hours per Saturday, to teach psychology applied to the business world. But I did not know anything about real estate. So I went to see this guy to learn a little bit about real estate so that I would not look like a fool when I'm talking to the people that I'm supposed to train in psychology for 8 Saturdays. I was getting $100 per Saturday. 8 hours, $100 for 8 weeks. So, $800 for 8 weeks of work, 64 hours. Okay? He was going to pay me for 2 hours, double the amount. So I said, yes, I can. Yes, I think I can do it for that amount of money. I will come here and talk to your people. I had never done a speech in English, so I was very worried. I cleared my calendar. I practiced in English, and I went and did it. And he said, "You're hired." He got me. I went to the big session, and I did terrific. And my career changed from that day on. I became a speaker in both languages, English and Spanish. I understood that the biggest obstacle was myself. In fact, having an accent is an advantage. Having an accent is an advantage. Why? Because people, to understand you, need to concentrate. They have to pay attention. They have to pay attention.
Great. I love your story because you are Hispanic, but I'm French, and I'm French, and I have an accent too, and it's amazing.
Yes.
Because one of my goals in 6 months is to do speeches and conferences in English, and I will do it, and I will remember your story.
David, this guy, what really sold him, and I got to tell you what happened later, because he hired me to do 52 speeches, one a week for a whole year. Okay?
Yeah.
So imagine that big market. But what was funny is that when I'm meeting with him, he tells me, by the way, how did you become the top motivational speaker in the US? That was a lie. I wasn't the best motivational speaker in the US. I just wrote that because I was with a girl and I wanted to impress her. So I said, look, I'm going to write, good job. I like your speech. If you ever need someone to motivate your people, I'm the best motivational speaker in the US. So the girl said, oh my God, that's great. I was trying to impress her. Well, then I get the call. I got to meet with the guy. And now in front of him, and he says to me, how did you become the best motivational speaker in the US? So I had to say, oh my God, what will I tell him the truth? How do I do it? I said, well, you know what? I cannot lie to the guy. So let me tell him the truth in a different manner. Let me do it differently. So I said, oh, you want to know? Okay, I'll tell you. I learned it at Harvard University. He said, what? You went to Harvard? I said, no. I was the chauffeur of the professor that taught in Harvard. So he says, so how did I make you the best motivational speaker? I said, well, because every day when he lectured, I sat in the back of the room. I would hear his lecture. And we would go to another university. I would sit in the back of the room, and he would give his speech. I memorized it word by word. Now, in my mind, I'm saying, if I hear the best motivational speaker in the US, the guy from Harvard, and I hear him every day, and I memorize his speech every day, word by word, I'm the best, because I'm giving exactly the same speech. That's what I was thinking when I was telling him that. So he said, oh my God, that's interesting. Then I said, well, look what happened. One day, we're going to Princeton, and I said to him, Professor, you know that I memorized your speech? I know your speech word by word. And he said, no, it cannot be. You're lying to me. No, I promise. I know your speech word by word. I've heard you 50 times. I know it exactly like you give it. He said, okay, I'm going to test you. So one day he said, we're going to Princeton, and he says, stopping in McDonald's. Okay, so we stopped. Come over here. So we got in. Come over here. Follow me. So he goes to the man's bathroom and he starts going like this. So I said, Professor, you did not hire me for that. He said, no, 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 no. You said you know my speech? They do not know me in Princeton. You're giving my speech today. You're going to dress as a professor? I will dress as a chauffeur. Oh, no, 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 no way, no. You got to do it? No, 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 no. I will not do it. You told me you could do it. If you don't, I have to fire you. What? Fire me? No, 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 no. Please don't fire me. Don't fire me. Okay, so you do it. Okay, so I had to. So now the guy from this company is looking at me saying, oh my God, you're in trouble. He's believing my story. I'm making this up to just to tell him that I'm not the best in the world, right? I'm telling him the story. So he says, what did you do? He said, well, I had to dress as a professor. He dressed as a chauffeur. We got to Princeton. He sat in the back. I started my speech. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Sam Jenkins. And people would say, oh my God, this guy with an accent. But no one knew me. So I started slowly. I was very nervous. But I started exactly the way that the professor did the speech. I know it by memory. And the professor in the back was saying, yes, yes, keep going, keep going. Come on, you're doing well, you're doing well. Come on, come on. So he started to motivate me, and I started doing my speech, and I did it just like him. People clapped. Ah! But when I finished 2 minutes too early. And the guy that heads the conference, the guy in charge, the master of ceremonies, says to me, Professor Jenkins, let's get some questions from the audience. I said, no, 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 no questions. No, 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 no questions. I did the speech, that's it. Oh, no, no. In this university, the speaker always answers questions. Oh, my God. Okay, okay. So the master of ceremony says, okay, anybody has a question? One guy stands up. Okay, sir, what's your question? Professor, you mentioned that the skills that you need in order to sell expensive items are different than the skills that you need to sell inexpensive items. Why is that so? Can you explain that further? I went blank. I did not know. I had memorized the speech, but I did not know the answer to specific questions. So I'm sweating. Now, the guy from the company sitting in front of me said, oh my God, what did you do? You were cutting that problem with 700 people, 800 people in front of you. I said, yes, I was sweating. I did not know what to do until something then occurred to me. So the guy says, what? What did you do? He said, I looked at the guy and said, sir, that is such an stupid question that I will not answer it. My chauffeur will answer that question. Come over here. So the chauffeur is the professor. So I told him that I call him the chauffeur. That's such a stupid question that the chauffeur will answer the question. And the chauffeur was the professor. This guy started laughing, and that's when he offered me to come to his company to do. Now, after I did my speech, 10 years later, I see the guy in a hotel. He invites me to a drink. And I said to him, you gave me the first opportunity in the US to become a speaker to American audiences. I want to thank you, and I'll be your friend. Whenever you need me in the future, you call me, and there'll be no charge. You are the guy that helped me when I needed help. Only one condition, I said to him. He said, what? He got emotional. Oh, thank you. But what's the condition? Who was the speaker that you told me you had already almost hired? He accepted your terms, but you decided not to hire him, and you hired me. Who was him? And he said, I didn't tell you? No, I never found out. 10 years later, I'm still wondering who was that guy. And he said, Norman Vincent Peale.
Wow.
The top motivational speaker in the US. I said, oh my God, he was the top motivational speaker in the US. He said, yes, I know. So wait a second. You knew I was not the top motivational speaker in the US? Of course I knew it. I knew the best speakers in the country. I just wanted to know why this guy, how did he tell me he was the best in the world? And that's why I invited you to lunch, to pull your bluff. But you were so good and you gave me so much information and you were so nice that I offered you the job. Oh my God. Then he said to me, but I have to confess something. And I said, what? You won't get mad? I said, of course I will not get mad. You gave me an opportunity. Okay, I pay you half of what I was going to pay him. So, David, to me, half was a lot of money. You understand?
Yeah.
So to him, half is half of what he was going to pay the guy, but to me it was a fortune.
Yeah.
I want to make double what I would make doing 64 hours.
It's great.
And then I became a speaker to American audiences.
Yeah, it's great. I love that. So, according to your story, do you have some life lessons you would like to share to youth to succeed in life?
Yes, yes. I have excellent life lessons. In fact, David, I did not tell you that after the book, Don't Eat the Marshmallow Yet, which was, of course, a bestseller around the world, 20 languages, sold 3 million copies. One of the most sold books in the world. I wrote Don't Gobble the Marshmallow Ever. Gobble, don't gobble the marshmallow ever. And that did great. So now, just last week, guess what? The last one. Oh, here.
Keep your eye on the.
Keep your eye on the marshmallow. Keep your eye on the marshmallow.
Why?
Okay? And that's the last one. It's just out. And I have some life lessons. For example, the implementation of knowledge is power. Very important. It's not what you know, it's what you do with what you know. I got a very important lesson that has served me well. Always help others get what they want. If you help others get what you want, you will do well yourself. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, this is a good interview. Just let me tell I always answer my phone when my daughter calls. Carol, I'm in an interview. I got to call you in 5 minutes, okay? Now, that's another story. I promised my daughter, because I got divorced from her mother when she was only a year old. When she was 10 or 11, I was divorced, and I was a speaker. As you know, you and I travel all over the world, and we cannot be at home that much. So I promised my daughter one day that I would take her to NSA, to the youth program every year if she liked it. She loved it 12 years in a row. I promised her that I would write her a postcard from every country in the world, and I did. And I promised her that no matter where I was, my phone would always be open. And that if she called, no matter if I was talking to the president of a country, if that phone rang and it's her, I was going to pick up the phone. So that's why I saw it was her, and I picked it up. I have kept that promise my whole life to my daughter. 3 times I've been speaking in big audiences, and she has called, like just now. And I said, I'm in an interview. Okay, Dad, call me back. Boom. If she says emergency, I said, David, my daughter has an emergency. And then I take care of her emergency. But that promise has been so important to her that now my next book, I'm writing with her. The 3 promises that I made my daughter. Because you know what happened? Last 6 months ago, last year, Father's Day, I go to her house and she said, Dad, I have a surprise for you. She went upstairs and she comes down with a box of all the postcards I have sent her from all over the world. Hundreds of postcards with all the things I told her, all the lessons, all the situations we were living at the time. And she and I, we would cry looking at the postcard. Remember this? Remember that? Oh, look at this, look at that. So her husband sitting next to us says, oh my God, now I understand. Now I understand. So we said, you understand what? Now I understand why you two have the best relationship I ever seen in a father and a daughter. Better than parents that have never been divorced. Much better. So Joaquin and Caroline, you have to tell the world how you did it. Because there are millions of fathers that lose touch with their kids. And you have to teach them that you can be good father even if you're not there all the time.
Great, I love that. It's
So
inspiring.
the book will be out very soon.
Yeah.
By the way,
So, yes, email me the link and I will promote this book in my blog.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
It's very important to inspire parents to do a good job.
Yes. It has principles that are really, really important. Like successful people do things that unsuccessful people are not willing to do. Successful people pay the price. They sacrifice. They don't eat the marshmallow right away. They do what needs to be done in order to get more later. Also, in this book, I am bringing up to date the Marshmallow Experiment. Because when these kids were 4 years old, they're now 46.
Yeah.
46. So now they're being followed. 59 of them were found, and now they're being studied to see what happened in their lives, who was successful, who wasn't, who ate the marshmallow, who didn't. And it's just fascinating the results that I placed here.
Great, I love that. I have a last question for you. Okay, it is a short question, so my question is according to you, what could be the key factors of success? And the goal is to do a video less than 2 minutes. Okay?
Okay, so in 2 minutes, I'm going to tell you, to me, the key to success has several steps. First of all, we have to understand that success has different definitions.
Yeah.
Failure has only one. There's only one definition for failure, which is not achieving whatever you want to achieve in life. So, what would be like a formula for success? First of all, I say you have to make a commitment. Decide you want to change your circumstances. Decide you're going to pay the price. Number two, what are your strengths and weaknesses? Understand what are you good at? What's your passion? What do you do better than somebody else? And then develop that. Number three, where do you want to go? What is your goal? Personal, financially, community-wise, social, for your country, health-wise. What's your goal? What do you want to achieve? Fourth, plan. How are you going to do it? What needs to be done in order for you to do it? 5, do it. Put it into action. Do it. You need to do it. Otherwise, it will not happen. And last, persevere. Don't give up. Continue. Things might change and you might have to adjust your bearings. You might fail. That will be a lesson if you take it as a lesson. You get up and you try again. And then if you do all that, it'll come a time when you have to win. Okay? You have to win. In the book, I show a way to reprogram your mind so you'll be a changed person in 21 days.
Wow.
Using scientific knowledge. Okay? Because I'm a scientist. I am not a motivational speaker that talks about, oh yeah, you have to wish whatever you want and it will come. The secret. No. That doesn't work. If it worked, the 5 million people that read The Secret will be rich now, and they're not. Okay? You need to do scientific steps to get what you want in life.
Great, I love that. Yeah, I love your answers. 5 steps and to succeed in life. Yeah.
Yes.
How can people follow you on the blog?
Okay, I have a website, joaquindeposada.com.
Yeah.
So, spell Joachim, joaquindeposada.com. I have a blog, which is joaquinworld.blogspot.com, joaquinworld.blogspot.com. They can follow me in Twitter. Joaquin de Posada is my handle, okay, in Twitter. Facebook. I even have a page in Facebook for Keep Your Eye on the Marshmallow. There's a page for that book. So, or you Google me and you'll find me, okay? I'm everywhere.
Great. I love that.